Hello, welcome to The Attic, the podcast where we tell you crazy, weird, wonderful medieval stories. I'm Becca Drake.
I'm Emmie Rose Price-Goodfellow.
And today Emmy is going to tell us a story about a woman and a knight and a small child and a dragon and vats of blood. So Emmy,
Yes.
first of all, the dragon. I want to know about the dragon.
The dragon comes in quite near the end of this story, so you're going to have to wait a while for the dragon, I'm sorry.
Can you just tell me, explain?
I feel like if I spoil the dragon, it spoils the whole story, so I think we just have to get into it.
Some people are no fun. Okay, you can tell the story from the beginning if you really have to.
I really have to, and I really want to.
Okay, Emmy.
Yes.
Tell me the story.
Okay, so there is a pagan woman, as she's described, in Spain, but I think we're supposed to understand that she's a Muslim woman in Spain.
Okay, because south of Spain was Muslim.
Yes, still Muslim controlled, and you've still got Christians and Muslims fighting over. So this story comes from a collection that was written in sort of 1170s, 1180s.
In England?
No,
in
Spain. France. But
okay.
It's possible that the author was Spanish, although he became a monk in France.
Multilingual, multicultural, Middle Ages people.
Indeed, yeah.
You may continue.
So she's the daughter of a wealthy Muslim man, but we don't know how or why, but she fervently believes in Jesus and she wants to become a Christian.
Okay.
So she finds a Christian knight, again, unclear how.
How does she, Tinder?
Yeah, maybe there was medieval Christian Tinder.
So I'm thinking if she finds him on Tinder, she's like, this guy's got enough muscles to... What does she want the knight for?
Well, so she wants him to conduct her out of pagan territory.
Okay, so she finds this guy on Tinder, she's like, he's got legs, he can take me out of pagan territory, but then she goes on Hinge and she's like, we'll get along if you can take me far away from this place.
Yeah, so I think it's probably more Hinge, because what she proposes is marriage.
Wow, that is definitely more Hinge. It would be with a little pram icon.
Yeah. So what she says to him is, I've got some money saved up. If you take me far away from pagan lands into Christian lands and baptise me or get me baptised,
that's very vague. I feel like if you're soliciting a random knight on Hinge, medieval Hinge, to take you away to pagan lands, you want to be more specific than just get me baptised, because it's like, I don't know, it does seem anything could happen.
I mean, but she just really wants to be Christian. So if he can get her baptised and take her to Christian places, then either she'll marry him and give him all of her savings, or if he doesn't want her, she'll give him half of her savings and she'll keep the rest for herself so she can go and live her Christian life. It's unclear what she'd do. Yeah, find another knight.
The app that's meant to be deleted.
Yeah. Or maybe she'll become a nun. It's not clear, but anyway.
She's going to marry Jesus. That happens in the Vegas.
It does all the time.
That sounds like a solid plan. Like, the knight's got a pretty good deal. If he just sort of... Literally, if he goes for a walk with this girl...
Yes. a long
he gets
walk,
marriage and life savings.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, great deal. he accepts, and they both swear pledges to God that they'll do what they've said they'll do.
Okay. I feel like that's an important... You said that very, it's an important...
It is. Spoiler alert, the pledges are not going to be kept.
Oh.
So they leave. They take a little boy servant with them, who is crucial to the story, to, serve them along the way. I don't know.
Is his name Harry Potter? Does he live in a cupboard under the stairs?
I mean, possibly.
How little is a little boy servant? Can he actually walk?
He gets no airtime, but he's actually really crucial to the story. Okay. So they're on their way, they're on their walk. Night falls, and they come to a Templar fortress. So the Knights Templar, so a kind of military monastic order in the Middle Ages, who fought in places like the Holy Land or in Spain. So wherever Christians were sort of fighting Muslims.
King Richard Coeur de Lion.
Yes, yeah, he wasn't a Templar, but he kind of, symbolises a lot of those Templar...
Eats a lot of Saracens.
Yeah, those kind of things. But the gates are barred, it's nighttime, they're wary of nighttime ambushes, so they can't get in. So instead, they decamp to a nearby sort of thicket, and they build a camp, and they refresh themselves.
This first date is going very well.
It's great, it's really romantic, they're in this...
They've walked a long way with a small child, perhaps pretending he will be their future offspring, and they're camping in a thicket. I've had dates a lot like this.
Yeah, I think you have to imagine it's quite romantic. They're under the starry sky. It's Spain. It's probably warm. There's a fire going.
Crickets in the background.
Yeah, they've eaten. So
oranges on the tree because they're down in Seville, right? If they're
Probably, yeah.
Well, if she's Muslim.
Somewhere around there. So yeah, so they've eaten, they've rested, they're refreshed, and guess where the knight's mind goes?
To his trousers.
Yeah. He is driven insane by lust for this beautiful Muslim woman.
She thought she got a good one.
Yeah.
She thought if she just offered herself and her life savings, that was the way to find the perfect man. No,
there are no perfect men.
He's a dick like the rest of them.
He's a complete dick. So he starts pushing her for sex now. And she has several lines of defense. She says, you promised that you'd take me to Christian lands and baptize me, and I promised I would then be your wife. Just wait a little while longer.
I think that's entirely reasonable.
You think?
Everyone's in a rush.
Yeah.
Just give it a few weeks. Gosh, how long does it take to walk out of pagan lands?
Again, the geography of this is very unclear. They never specify.
Right, okay, so if they're possibly in Seville or, where is that one? Ibiza. Okay, so out of pagan lands. That's just the sea, right? That's like a day's journey. He can't even keep it in his pants for 24 hours.
Keep it in his pants at all. So then she says, I'm a heathen, you're a Christian, we're not actually allowed to have sex. Let's wait till we can... And then she uses the sexy words, procreate legitimately. We'll love that. And then she says, don't make me a prostitute, don't undo your honour as a good Christian man, you promised that you would take me away, remember Jesus, remember your oath. She tries everything.
He doesn't listen.
He's a man who wants to put his dick in her.
Right in front of their practiced child.
Yeah, I mean, he's not mentioned at this point, but we learn later the boy is watching this whole thing.
That's creepy.
Which is really creepy.
Look,
so
he's like hiding in a bush, is he?
Yeah. So the man is completely driven. He is literally hiding in a bush.
They're all hiding in a bush. Like, do they not bring tents with them? They not find a cave? Even a cave would be better than a bush.
Well, it's a good job they aren't in a cave, as I will come to later.
Well, okay. Oh! I smell a dragon.
So he's insane, right? He's driven mad by his lust.
Yes.
Which I think is just excusing his behaviour. I think he's not mad. I think he's
so the text says he was driven mad.
Yeah,
he was not just like, a horny asshole.
Yeah, words like crazy and madness and insanity are used, and I think that's a get out clause. Basically, he just wants to have sex with her and doesn't like to be told no. So he takes out his sword and he cuts her head off. Because if she won't have sex with him, then she's got to die.
Sorry, is that a euphemism?
No. I mean, I think we could... Yeah, I think we can draw the parallels in the text between his sword and his sword. And how both sort of spell doom for her.
So we don't have our mascot sword with us today.
We haven't.
We weren't allowed to take it out of King's Manor. No. Because, so, we have a lot of people in the attic who do sword fighting because, I don't know.
We're medievalists?
Yeah, we're medievalists. And I asked one, can we take the sword out of King's Manor? And she said, no, because if you're caught in the streets of York with a giant broadsword, even with googly eyes on, you will probably be arrested.
Yeah.
So instead, we should introduce our other mascots.
We should.
Yeah.
You've probably been listening to them the whole time.
Can you hear that? So, as you have noticed, we're not in the attic. We are in the flat.
But it is above ground.
It
so
is.
It's a little bit
and
attic-like.
I like to think it kind of resembles an attic.
There's a lovely medieval sort of cathedral window-ish thing along the back wall.
You can just about see the back of Emmie's head. But in this attic, in the attic thing, live two little birds called Arthur and Guinevere. And as we will be talking about gender in a bit, I feel like I should mention that Arthur is a girl and Guinevere is a boy.
And they are in love.
They are in love. They feed each other. They clean each other's knits.
And they are very much enjoying the story, which is why they're making so much noise.
Yeah, so that's
what
that is.
What's going to happen next.
It's not that we're so terrible at soundproofing our studio. This place is soundproof, but
everything's covered in blankets and cushions.
Yeah, no, we're actually we're just sat outside in the park, aren't we? And
yeah,
strange
this is just random budgies in the park, you know.
Yeah. It's almost as if we were sat in a thicket, So back to the story.
Back to the night. So, he's just taken out his sword. And she said no, so he's taking out his other sword and cutting it off.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. Poor girl!
Yeah,
she made the wrong call.
She did.
She should have scrolled down to the bottom of the 6 pictures where you see the weird one.
Yeah, no, she went with the hot guy, and he was
She didn't read through his entire profile, where he said,
we'll decapitate women who say no. So, he decapitates her. However, luckily, heaven is watching, because God is watching everything you do.
God is all-seeing,
yeah,
all-knowing.
God is really unhappy about the fact...
God is a woman.
I mean, I don't think the monks would see this. But God is very unhappy that this man has done this because this was
because it's mean.
Yeah.
You don't do that on the first date.
Yeah.
You wait until at least the 5th date to decapitate someone.
I don't think that's God's logic. God's logic is she was a Christian convert, you made a pledge, and instead you tried to rape her and then killed her.
Mm-hmm.
So God does something unusual. There is a cave next to them. And
which they hadn't thought that they could possibly just use as a camping site rather than a thicket.
Yeah. It's a good job they didn't go into the cave, though, because in the cave there is a massive dragon.
It's a dragon!
Massive dragon.
Yes!
Yeah.
So they go into the cave. No, wait. They're not in the cave.
No, they're not in the cave.
But the dragon's in the cave.
The dragon's in the cave.
Is the dragon going to come out of the cave?
Yes. God sends the dragon forth out of the cave.
And the dragon doesn't like swords?
The dragon does not like rapey knights who
dragons are the best!
Women. So the knight is incredibly scared at this point. I think this is not a brave moment for this knight. He doesn't stand and face the dragon and die tragically.
I mean,
he runs away.
Yeah, that kind of fits with his personality so far.
Yeah. So he runs away from this dragon. The dragon, however, is much faster than him. The dragon...
Because it can fly.
It can fly. It's a dragon, you know. It snags his back.
One of those dragons that doesn't have wings and doesn't fly. It's not a real dragon.
It's not a real
dragon. That is a word.
This is a real dragon. He snags the knight's back with his teeth. Okay? Which feels painful.
I'm getting empathetic pain.
And then drags him back to his cave.
Where he belongs.
And devours him with one harsh bite. Ow.
I mean,
and he's gone. The knight's gone.
I disagree with that. I think he should be nibbled. Like, you know when you eat a gingerbread man, right? And the nice people bite the head off first, and the bad people nibble it from the feet up. That is what the dragon should do with the knight.
Yeah, he probably deserved it.
He definitely deserved it. So the knight doesn't even get a full punishment. I mean, he
gets eaten by a dragon.
Yeah, but you know what happens when people get eaten whole? They then, like, come out the middle with a...
He's not going to come out, don't worry. He's gone. So the poor boy saw all of this.
Traumatised child. He'll never want parents again.
No.
Even fake parents.
So in the morning, he rushes to the Templar Fort and tells them all that happened. And they come out and they find her body and they find the knight's effects and nothing else because he's been eaten by a dragon.
What are the knight's effects?
I mean, I guess, like, his boots and his sword and stuff. Probably the bloody sword. And so they take her back and they bury her. They give her, like, a proper Christian burial because they're like, this was a good girl and this knight was horrible and he got what he deserved. Mm-hmm. And then somehow, eventually, the Pope finds out about it. It's unclear how.
I mean, the Pope knows everything too.
It's the Pope. I think his legate tells him or something, you know, like Pope stuff. So the Pope finds out and the Pope orders that she be buried properly in a church as a martyr because she had won martyrdom in her kind of steadfast defence of her virginity against this knight. And although she hadn't officially been baptised yet, she was baptised in her own blood and so deserves to wear the crown of a martyr. And that's the end of the story.
Grisly.
It's pretty grisly.
Can you be baptised in your own blood? Is there enough blood in the human body to submerge someone?
No. But
is this more one of those things where it's more metaphorical than literal? Okay,
yeah, it's a trope, I think, for pagan or non-Christian people who want to convert and are Christian sort of in their hearts, but are martyred, killed in some way before they can be actually baptised. It still counts, and they often use this trope of baptised in their own blood.
So what does it mean? Because all these stories you tell me, they always have some sort of moral message.
Yeah, so it's not clear. There's no, like, explanation at the end. Like, hi, monks, this is how you're supposed to understand this story.
This is how you don't date a girl.
Yeah, but I interpret it as being about the importance of the inner self over the outer self. That, on the face of it, the man is a Christian knight and she's a pagan woman, and therefore you expect him to be the good person and her to be the bad person. But actually, she's the one who ends up...
She's all right. And
yeah. She ends the story a martyr, he ends the story inside a dragon's belly. Like, which one of them's winning?
Well, unless you're, like, a real dragon hugger, it's probably not what you want to be.
So yeah, I think it's supposed to be about the inner self, because obviously these are monks who their outer bodies are controlled, if you like, through the rhythms of the monastic day and the rule that they have to follow, but their inner self is sort of up to them, but also their inner self is more important. So things like if you confess a sin, but you're not actually contrite, so you don't mean it, you're not actually sorry for it, and you don't actually wish you hadn't done it, then that doesn't count, and you don't actually, you aren't actually absolved of that sin if you don't really mean that you're sorry. So there are lots of ways in which monks can do outer things, or their outer actions are controlled by others. So and their inner self could not match.
They have thought crime.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, their thoughts are, and they're not actually policed because there's no way anyone can police them. But they
monks
are
live
supposed to
in
think in certain
cloisters,
ways.
right? They live and sleep in the cloisters.
Yeah, so they
a little monkey panopticon.
Yeah, so it's especially Cistercian monks. They live in dormitories. They sleep in dormitories, so they never have any.
Quite sinister. They kind of live in a world of surveillance, self-surveillance.
Yeah, I think I see it less as sinister because there's no one trying to control their thoughts in a sense. The onus is on, well, obviously God, but the onus is on them to change their thought process. So it's more, I think, you have to imagine these are people who want to be monks, right? These aren't people who was sold as children or whatever to a monastery.
Well, just, I always thought that and like this is what I've learned from bad medieval films.
Yeah.
But if you're the less favourite younger child, and your brother is off being like a hero in a war with all the family inheritance, don't you get sold to a monastery?
Not if you're Cistercian.
Oh.
Cistercians only accept adults. You have to be 18.
Well,
so,
there you go. But then, okay, so this leads me to another question.
Mm-hmm.
So they're old enough and ugly enough, as my mother would say, to know what they want in life. But so it's other Cistercian monks writing these exempla.
Yes.
Okay, and it's all about the interior self.
Yeah.
Versus the outer appearance, etc. So why are they imagining their interior selves as a woman? Because presumably, if they want to be the good person in the story, in this story, that's the woman.
Yes. Yeah, I think. So they're not necessarily imagining themselves to be the woman. They are learning from her example. But I also think that Cistercians are less bothered about those kind of gender distinctions than we might be. So, like, we see films about women, so like Little Women is quite a good recent example, as being for women. Title. It is.
About little women. Yeah. They're so tiny that they like fit in a TV screen. Little women. Sorry.
But like we imagine that that's a film for women and men won't enjoy it because it's somehow unthinkable to ask men to think about what it would mean to be a woman or to empathise with women, and we assume men aren't interested in that or it's weird in some way. I think they don't see it in those terms. And Cistercians are actually quite comfortable thinking about themselves in the position of a woman because Cistercian spirituality is based around a metaphorical understanding of the Song of Songs, which is the sexy bit in the Bible about a bride and a bridegroom and desire and all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And in that metaphor, Jesus is the bridegroom and Cistercians are the bride. So the monk is the bride.
That's kinky.
So yeah, they are thinking about themselves all the time in this bridal position. Desiring Jesus, submitting to Jesus. It's kinkier and kinkier.
So they are kind of female gendered.
I think they're not female gendered, but they are more flexible in their sort of imagery and stories.
What would that be in today's labels?
I don't know, because I guess it's not about their gender identity. It's just more about more of an imaginative world in which gender isn't as important, perhaps, in terms of how they might imagine themselves, the imagery they might use about themselves, and then in these stories, the position that they might imagine themselves in. They
want to be the person who ends up beheaded, bathed in their own blood, and doesn't get to meet the dragon.
Yeah, they want to imagine, or they are supposed to, I think, imagine themselves in the position of the woman in terms of being so steadfast in your faith and in your virginity, which for them might mean celibacy, that nothing could shake it. Even death is better than giving those things up. And that's what that story is asking them to think about.
That's what that story is about.
Yeah.
That was a good story, Emmie.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think we leave it there for today, maybe.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Hope you've enjoyed the story.
Thank you for coming and watching.
We hope the tweeting hasn't been too distracting.
Yeah.
Not Twitter, like, as in the original meaning of tweeting.
As in birds.
Birds.
But please do tweet about this as well.
Thank you. You've been watching The Attic.
Bye.